we have taken two standalone Jboss uh, services instances on a single machine. So on this single machine only we have this Apache installed, mod JK, and two instances of Jboss, everything on a single machine. So what is the use of mod JK? It is for load balancing and forwarding the request to the backend application servers. It may be Jboss, it may be Tomcat, whatever it is. And both the instances are started on different AJP ports. So what is AJP port? It is Apache JSON protocol. So we will understand how this request from Apache is sent to first mod JK, and how mod JK sends the request to AJP protocol, and how this AJP protocol, because the application is accessed over the internet using only two protocols, HTTP and HTTPS, right? So how this AJP is fitting in between these different protocols? So what is the role of AJP? How it converts the request that is received from modjk, and it sends to uh, this Apache Jboss, and Jboss executes the request and sends it back to the Apache server as a in the reverse proxy. So yeah, uh, let us do the practical. I'll wipe off all the things that we did last time so that we can have a clear understanding. OPT Jboss. So I'll remove node 1, node 2. Yes. So we have a fresh installation, and let me take another tab where I can remove the parameters of Apache. Forgot. No problem. And I'll remove the properties, and uh, yeah. Uh, I think this is not necessary actually. Do it in httpd.conf. Fine. So um, first of all, mod JK configuration. We can edit the Apache configuration file mod JK for mod JK in the httpd.conf. So we have to load the module because Apache, on the Apache there is no mod jk.conf configured, and it is installed under modules but loaded by default. So as we have already learned that Apache works on modular basis. So whatever the module, you will have all the modules in one place, and whatever the module that you require, only those modules can be loaded into the server. So this is a path and HTTPD conf. So go to the end of the file, and here we can load the JK module, which is mod JK, and we will define JK workers file that is available in this path. You can place wherever you want. It is your uh, you know, you can customize it. And JK log file. So what is this JK log file? This JK log file contains, mod JK log file contains all the information, all the routing information. So to which backend server the request is getting served, getting routed. So that information is will be available in modjk.log, and the log level of this modjk log, you can have info, error, debug, or trace. Debug, so that we can see more detailed logs, and JK mount. So the application that you are deploying on the Jboss backend servers. So that application we will add here. And load balancer is something that we will create, and we will map our Jboss instances, right? It is a kind of virtual resource. So httpd.conf is done. Now let us create workers.properties. So before creating workers.properties, let us create two instances out of standalone. So we have loaded the JK module on httpd.conf, and now to add the workers details in the workers.properties, we need we need the node 1 AJP port number, the host, the type, and LB factor. So these two instances details we need. So in order to create these instances, we will do this in Jboss home. Let us copy -cp-r standalone to the same location with a different name, like node 1, and again node 2. So we are not modifying or changing anything under standalone, because this is a default one that came with the Jboss, and we are taking a copy for these to run these two instances. So to node 1 and configuration, we will talk about these different configuration files available: application rules, application users, when it comes to the users and roles. So management users, and what else? Management groups and logging properties. So these all are related to security. So we will talk about these all things when we talk about the security and roles class. So other than that, this is a default standalone.xml for a standalone configuration or a standalone server configuration. And there is standalone HA, standalone full HA, and standalone load balancer.xml. So these three we will talk about it later. About each one has different subsystems loaded based on the requirement. So the other day we have seen the subsystems of standalone.xml, and now we will use standalone HA.xml, because we are using mod JK for load balancing, and also we will be configuring the high availability properties. Like we will configure the session for failover. So in order to do that and support that kind of feature, we need to utilize standalone ha.xml so that it will support the clustering high availability subsystems, right? So here in this standalone ha.xml, as you know, it is similar to the normal standalone.xml, the default one. It has all the extensions, and you see here management. You see the configuration files, just like I told, management user.properties, management group.properties. So everything will be inside the realm. Whatever the users you create with different roles, everything will be added to these properties files. So come down. This is data source. Yeah, the AJP. So this is AJP, and this AJP is used for mod cluster. So we are using mod JK. So how to configure for mod JK? So in the standalone.xml, we need to go to the undertow. So what is undertow? It is a subsystem that is responsible for, it contains a lightweight HTTP container, which is a web container that executes your web archives, web applications, right? So undertow is a lightweight container. So this contains AJP listener, HTTP listener, HTTPS listener with the default name, AJP default and HTTPS, and socket binding names which are bound to socket binding groups. So you can give like the socket binding name whatever you want. If you are using multiple instances, you can give the different names. So here it is AJP, but in the second instance it is AJP2. So let us do one thing. Let us put it AJP1, and this socket binding name, this should be added under ensure AJP socket binding is defined. So under socket binding group, so we are letting know the socket binding group that we have defined the socket binding for AJP listener, and its name is AJP1. So what is the group? So here you see the AJP socket binding name and port. So port by default it is 8009. So we can do this offset here also. So I am giving AJP 1 and offset. See here, this is the offset. So by default, the standalone.xml, it contains 8009, 8080, 8443. So for our node 1 instance, I want to give different port numbers offset by 1. So by default, it will add 1 to these port numbers, right? So this is the configuration is done. Now we will do the same configuration for node 2. Hyphen ha.xml. So AJP, so AJP listener name. This listener name should not be changed. It is read by your Jboss product files. So actually we change the socket binding name. We will make it as 2 because node 1 we have given AJP1 and node 2 we are giving AJP2, and we'll go to socket binding. Now the offset we can increase by 2, right? So let us do it 10, right? And the AJP socket binding name we have given 2, AJP2. Fine. So our configuration and creation of 2 instances is complete. Let us start one by one. I'll take another tab here. Start standalone, and we will use the server config file. Server config. We are enforcing to use standalone ha.xml along with the location of the node, the Jboss instance, right? So hyphen server config standalone hyphen dot xml. This is our file, and djboss server base dir is equal to opt jboss and node 1. This is our command to start. Yes, here, enter.